So the big question is this: how are real estate agents like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital and are spending money from our own pockets, how do we compete with these billion-dollar real estate tech companies and iBuyers in a way that lets us bring our services and the things we believe in out into the world and still remain profitable? That's the big question. And on this podcast, we'll give you the answers. Welcome to the iBuyer experiment.
What's going on, team?
How's it going, guys?
Going good.
I'm good. I just ate some popcorn, so I have a full belly.
Smells like
Podcasting and
it smells
popcorn.
like the movie theaters in here.
Kayla's like, mute yourself. I can hear you eat the popcorn. It's nasty.
Laughing.
I wasn't
Well,
here last
gross.
week. Did you all miss me?
Yes, we missed
Is
you.
Noah-
Is Noah a better podcaster than I am?
No,
We got to
just
be.
different. You're both
He's going to
awesome.
hear this because Noah is our editor.
Thanks for
So-
thanks for
You're great, Noah. You're great.
Yeah, thanks for filling in for me, buddy.
So what's going on? What's popping?
Well, I don't know. You said you had some cool topics. So why don't you
Oh, you want me to kick it
start
off?
it off? Yeah.
Kick it off. I got one little.
Let's see
nugget
what you
here I
got.
can get us going with. So I found this very interesting. That Inman News just dropped an article today saying that the inventory levels are not going to be balanced for up to 6 years. They're saying that building and ultimately all of the backlog of demand is going to be pushed out and not balanced for 6 years. I find that hard to believe, honestly. That seems a little cray to me.
I haven't seen that. Just out of
It's Inman.
I know. Well, what
Right.
data are they using
Right.
to come up with that conclusion? I guess is what my question would be. I haven't seen that article.
Let's
That's
see.
interesting. I
Nope,
definitely
that's
want to read
interesting.
that.
I read some things about that, and they said, well, I don't know about this article, but I read another article about the past decade, or the 2010 to 2020 decade was like the lowest
It was the
amount
lowest
new builds,
output.
output
Yes.
of new builds ever built for like the last
I saw that
50
one
years
too,
or
or-
something like that.
Yep. For the
Something like
past
that.
13 consecutive years, builders have not been producing enough inventory to keep up with population growth.
Yeah, so now we're way behind the curve.
Yeah, the pendulum is swung the other way.
And it's now the market's bananas right now, and then and on top of the last 10 years we haven't built that
lack
many
of
homes.
inventory.
So now it's just we're way behind. the
Well,
curve.
and it's not just that too, right? You're talking about, it's like, it's funny how much all of it comes together when we're talking about, the whole things of inflation. Then you get into like the jobs reporting, and then there's of course a lot of people looking for or claiming that they can't even hire employees, but yet there's a shortage of jobs. And then you have like one of the largest trust manufacturers in America has a employing problem. They're short, that they can't manufacture them enough because they can't have enough employees for all this. So that's what's causing some more of the delays. It's funny how much it just spins down a rabbit hole in all of these things. So
yeah, I've never seen this type of market before.
yeah.
It's really weird. I remember
Nobody has.
Right? It's unprecedented. It's unprecedented.
Could you imagine if this market and 18% interest rates like back in the day?
Gosh.
Well, then we wouldn't have this market.
Yeah, we wouldn't. Yep.
So then that's curious, because think about how much equity people have built in the last 2 years. That's unprecedented. So if inventory is not going to balance out for another half a decade, does that mean that in another half a decade, people are going to build another 6 figures of
Or
of equity?
you're
I don't
talking,
think so.
if it stayed at the same rate, we'd be talking about probably 200% appreciation between now and 6
No,
years.
it's going to slow
I
down.
don't. There's no
do you,
way.
Do you think these people will just start to cohabitate with habitat? Cohabitat with each other?
No, that's not right either.
Because if there's not enough housing and you need a house,
We're already seeing that.
it's going
The
to be
multi-generational homes.
Whoever
Why do
can
you
afford
think-
them.
Yeah, the next gen houses are so attractive.
It's who can afford them, right? I mean,
so it's going to become a case of the haves and the have-nots, and housing is just going to be, there's going to be a greater socioeconomic factor that will say, hey, you own or you lease. And why do we have these companies raising billions of dollars to acquire single-family detached homes as rentals? Because they know what's going to happen. People aren't going to be able to afford to buy houses, and it's really sad. Home ownership 10 years from now is going to be, my prediction is going to be down.
Well, and the other thing too that's
but prices will be up.
Prices will be up. Yeah, I don't see us having a huge correction.
right? Because
right. I think
So
prices will
it's-
remain.
Yeah, it's just still
So
going to
the-
be supply and
So
demand.
all the new kids that are coming out, they're the younger guys. They're gonna have to rent, but I mean rentals are gonna be expensive too. So
Rentals are
They're
expensive.
outrageous.
They're all gonna be-
outrageous.
sharing.
But the difference is with a rental, you don't need a huge down payment. You don't need, to bid over appraised value. You don't need to.
A lot of liquid cash. Right?
Yeah.
So
That's
they're
the
gonna have
biggest factor.
roommates.
Well, because
Pretty
even most of your landlords and property management companies for residential houses now, most of those people can qualify for a dang house because their credit, that's what they're requiring.
You imagine that's where the rental market goes. Be like, okay, this is a 6-bedroom home. We're gonna take 6 applicants, do a background check, and then you just have like 6 random people
bidding
start
on-
living together in one house because
Oh my
rent's
gosh.
so damn expensive.
I think that there's.
Think that'll ever happen?
I think it already does. I think I can't remember the name of it off the top
It's almost
of my
like a
head,
hostel type
But
situation.
there is an app that connects you to other tenants and places you in a room in a house so that you can have that.
Be like
kind of
Match.com for
shared
houses.
Yeah, no, it's I think really popular in
idea.
San Francisco.
I have a prediction though. Here it is.
Listening.
5-7 years from now, we're gonna have fully autonomous vehicles,
Oh yeah.
and these people that can't afford houses, guess what? They're gonna move out into the boonies where they can't afford the houses,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't care because you're gonna have an electric vehicle that drives
work.
you to work, and it doesn't matter. You
Yep.
live far
So-
out, and then that may bring the prices down. I think. I mean,
It may, but what would it cost for developers to bring in utilities to very, very rural areas?
well, I mean places like Florence, Casa Grande. I mean, those are still.
Yeah.
I don't
you
even
know,
think you can call that far anymore.
No.
Then what's far here?
What's going to be far?
Well, especially when you
going to
gotta
be
remember
that space between
Yeah.
Buckeye and LA, right?
landmass wise, Phoenix
But
is
there
the
are
second largest
they
city.
they have utilities out there. They're already out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Pavement,
far for us,
like,
but it's
you
not
know.
far for people that may be moving from California to Arizona.
How about this for another factor that's just
Quartzsite. That's the new
Quartzsite.
The new
Quartzsite,
hotspot.
yeah. Another continued factor that we're just seeing, hearing more and more buzz about this is Airbnb is currently doing so well that so many investors, right, they're now re-strategizing their entire portfolios, buying houses because, the demand for those is so high that they're running almost as good or a better occupancy rating than somebody who's like long-term leasing. Of course, I'm stretching it there. But what I'm getting at is even if they have occupancy of 10% of the month, their cash flow based on the rates that they're getting. So it's just, I think that's going to be another thing. And I actually think that that's only going to continue to accelerate because of COVID and how much it changed
Well,
everything and people being able to be transient and work.
So if these Airbnbs continue to do really well, maybe what'll happen is some of these hotel chains will turn
Yep.
their hotels into condos.
Apartments.
Like something's going to shift,
Yeah,
right?
they can't keep losing the money.
Yeah, it's
They have to adapt.
Shifting. It is shifting.
It's such a strange time. I mean, Jason and we obsess about this all the time. We constantly talk about this.
What's coming? What's the curve? What do I
Yeah,
see?
I'm-
What can I see next?
I'm boring now because we only talk about this stuff.
I know.
You're not boring, bro.
It's very boring. Our lives are very boring.
She's like,
I think it
The other
depends
day
on what
she's
you
like,
find entertaining.
we don't talk about anything else but business.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
And kids.
And
That's
You guys
it.
you guys are reminding me of conversations I had that. Never mind.
What? No, you can't do that. We're podcasting. It's
Lori used to bust my balls all the time, especially when we worked together. She'd be like, "All you ever talk about is work." All right.
You hear that, Lori?
Yeah. No, we do. We seriously obsess about everything. We're constantly. I'm like, my question is always like, what are we missing? What are we not seeing? Like,
Yep.
like
yeah,
what?
because
what's
we went through that 2008, 2009
Hell yeah.
time frame when lost a lot of properties and
Yep.
and our eyes were shut and I wish we would have been able to look around a little bit and go like, what are we missing, right? And so we're always constantly looking at, is there something that we're not seeing that we should be looking at?
Isn't it fun? That's a common bond. I mean, obviously, how you guys did it, we didn't even know. None of us knew each other at the time, other than obviously you two knew each other. Keith and I knew each other. I mean, meaning the four of us. It's funny how we have that common bond in the fact that like you guys played a hand, some things didn't work out that well. Same thing for us, and now it's funny how it changes your realm of reality when that's on potentially on doorstep again. Like not meaning like anything's going to go awry, but meaning like, hey, how do we look for the signs of what's coming, right? So you can take advantage of it and be that optimist and maximize on what's coming your way.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would categorize it as I don't know if we're missing something at the moment. Maybe we'll discover something, but I think what we're realizing, especially in our market, is still how absurdly amount of people want to take an instant cash offer.
Yeah,
Think
right.
about how many listings are on the market from these big institutional buyers with as scarcity of our inventory already is.
Yeah,
That's
we
a
just-
very high percentage rate.
We just found one yesterday. That was what Open Door bought it for $400,000, and they relisted it for $606.
That was another
how-
one on
Another
top.
one.
Is
That's
that
another
even
one.
possible?
That's a flipper's dream.
Goodness gracious.
That's insane.
Well, I know there was that post I saw-
$206,000 more, and that wasn't even their fee either off that $400,000. They had probably a 5% fee on there, so it's really $380.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing what happens when you the law of numbers come into play, right? Because I mean, you can look at their stats, I mean, and see across the board that they're making that, they're basically almost like the mentality of like base hit baseball, right? They're not hitting home runs all the time, but then every once in a while you see these home runs, and you're like, damn.
They're on a streak right now. That's for sure.
Right. Blows my mind.
Yep. Well, I mean, but even it's been nice seeing our offer requests really elevate in the agent community for us. So that's a cool piece. But the part, to your point, Keith, that I find so interesting, that I know we were talking about last week in one of our workshops, is per the Cromford report, they bought just over 600 homes here locally last month. Right, when you do that on the math of the amount of homes sold, I think was roughly a little over 8,000. At 600, right? That's a serious percentage when you think about that, right? That's better
8%?
that's better than the 5%.
50-some thousand agents in the
Right.
valley.
That's better. That's my point. Is that's better than the 5% of the national average. So in the best sellers market we've pretty much all ever seen, they're still having an 8% success rate, just right there.
And those are conversations that we're having with a lot of our subscribers. That it's a mindset shift, and I think it's only going to continue to increase. And so we just you got to get out of your own way as an agent and just be like, hey, Mr. Seller, I want to give you your options, and as long as you're confident and clear that you laid out all the options for your seller and they're still taking the cash offer, you have to be okay with that. And that's where the mindset shift comes into play, because we know that they're probably going to be giving up some of their equity, but hey, it's their circumstance, it's their situation, it's their decision. And as long as you're there to guide them and they're happy and you gave them that
options.
that different solution,
Yep.
then be happy with that too, and ride the new way of what our market is shifting to.
Yeah, so interesting that you point that out, that the industry does need a mindset shift. And I think it's difficult to have a mindset shift in a way that kind of goes against like your value, because that's the problem. Is, I think that if we do make the transaction more digital, what agents think, I don't think it's the reality, but what they think, and the reason they have such a difficult time kind of accepting these things is they think that they're being replaced, right? They think that the digital transaction will take them out of the transaction. And I think that what's really going to happen is just going to change their role. They're going to be more of that advisor, right? And it'll also allow them to leverage their time. So
Big
then
time.
the agent of the future will probably spend more time, acquiring customers rather than working with customers. Do you
Yep.
think? And so these agents now that don't prospect at all, they're going to be dead. They'll be gone. If you don't consistently get new business and look for new business, you're going to be out in 5 years.
Yep.
It just won't be easy anymore.
Nope. Agreed. Well, and not only that, I think it's just like all the things that we harp on, whether it be your coaching call or even mine to our community, is where we need to be able to be systematic in those messaging, so that it's not only, like you said, from a marketing approach and a prospecting approach, where it's just I love seeing it come full tilt, and I guess to your point, going back to our book that we've been going through, the 3-minute pitch. It's so amazing to me today that it's lining up more and more with what we're seeing, right? The attention span of today's consumer is 9 seconds, roughly what a goldfish is. And that's lining up, with here in the Valley, right? Like, we could sell your house as fast as you can snap your fingers, but yet half of the people, or half of the houses that are hitting the market are still starting with a cash offer, right? And it's because it's giving them that basis. It's, allows them to control that schedule. It's just, I find it, like Jay said a bit ago, super interesting. And it's just the times, and to Keith's point, it's probably only going to continue to pick up speed.
I agree. I think that in this market, it would be fair to say that it's much more difficult to be a buyer, right? We can all agree on that,
yes.
right? It's difficult to be a buyer. Something interesting, when last week we met with our whole development team, and we had a lunch, right?
Yep.
And our lead developer, I don't know how old he is, but if I had to guess, I'm going to guess 40s.
Preetham?
No,
Preetham.
David, yeah.
40, he's maybe low 40.
I would say mid 40s.
Oh, okay. So, okay. So interesting though.
Early to
because,
mid.
Yeah.
Early to mid.
So that's about his age.
No offense, Dave.
Around there.
He's 32.
He is not.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Anyway, whatever. Maybe
Okay.
I don't think so. He's been developing for a very long time.
Yeah.
Awesome developer. Brilliant man. And something interesting that he said was, when it came to buying his house, he wanted to use a real estate agent because the contracts and the negotiations, and it was intimidating, and he didn't want to deal with that, right? So, of course, he looked for expert guidance to guide him, and this is a very smart individual. But I think what's happening is selling your home, especially in this market, it's so simple, so easy, right? That why not go with a company that's just going to give you an offer and give you the number you want? It just makes sense, right? And then I also think when the market changes and it's more difficult to sell your home, and then you need that expert guidance and it's going to take more time, well, selling your home to an iBuyer is going to be awesome then too, because then you don't have to deal with the uncertainty. You just get to cash out.
It is.
And
Well, and that's the perception. And to me, I love that you just brought that up, because that's where what you just specified, that the professional has a fighting chance, right? A puncher's chance in this circumstance, because Open Door, Zillow, all of them, right? All the big iBuyers, institutional buyers want you to go to them because they work for who?
Themselves. The seller.
And
or the
where
buyer.
Wall Street. They work for Wall Street, guys.
Exactly,
Well, now
Wall
they
Street.
do, but
and that's my point. Just like a builder, everything's fine until it's not, right? And let's face it, when you're navigating through 12 offers, and you are a seller, or like these FSBOs for us that are pouring in, that makes it a little bit more of a tough navigation. Like, how do I deal with multiple offers? What do I do in the inspection? What do I do if my house doesn't appraise? Right? All the real problems that we have today in selling in today's market that sellers themselves are not equipped to deal with. But to your point, everything that I just said is the iBuyer eliminates.
yeah, exactly.
So
I think though it's going to be much more different to disrupt the buying process. I think that it'll be much more difficult for buyers to, kind of forego representation and just buy houses.
yeah.
I don't know, just a thought.
We'll see.
We will see.
Yes, we will. No doubt disruption it's full steam.
All right. What's the next? We got any other little hot fun topic?
I think
I didn't bring my computer today. I just ate some popcorn, so
I think the biggest thing is
Jason's just here so he
I
won't
got
get
nada.
Jason's just here so he won't get fined.
I just think I am just super passionate about realtors needing to make this a business. If you've spent time in the industry and you've been kind of the hobbyist, if you want to last, make it your business. Show up, serve your customers, deliver value and goodwill, be the knowledge broker, get out there, make video content, educate, lead, inspire, and you will do amazing. But for those of you that aren't willing to put in the daily consistent work, I'm nervous for your future.
Well, and
I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is, guys. I mean, you're going to go away.
well, I always like, going back to 10X that we've mentioned so many times. He always talks about how competition sucks. I want to dominate. Well, we think the same thing. Competition. I mean, it's yes, it makes you better. Yes, it makes you sharper. I do believe it's healthy, but there's no question. I want to crush my competition. So, that's the whole thing. So it's like you said, if they can't, or not that they can't, if they're unwilling, right, to run their business, as you just stated, that looks like, hey, I'm lead generating, looks like, hey, I'm running a system, I'm running a process to be able to deliver to my clients what the modern consumer expects, giving them their digital space, giving them the ability to generate a cash offer on a website that you own that allows you to
Zoodealio.
Exactly.
Zoodealio.
Extract data from them.
Zoodealio.
Know you, like you, trust you. Now you got a lead. Now you got an opportunity to sling a crib.
Yeah, embrace the tools because they're going to serve you. They're going to serve your clients, and they're going to help you make more money.
Yep. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for tuning in on this one. Unless anybody's got any hot nugget.
Oh,
I know I'm kind
we'll
of.
see you guys in
I think
June
Keith
for.
does.
Oh, you have something?
You want to end it with a joke, a realtor joke?
Yes.
Key these.
What does a house wear? A dress.
Oh, see, I was thinking.
You got one? You got one for us?
What do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to say?
A joke. You always
Should we plug Inman for June?
They're not.
Because we're going to be.
I don't
Yes.
know. My jokes aren't that good for podcasts. They're good when you're in person at one of our workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to come get the Keith experience at one of our workshops. You will not be disappointed.
Yes.
Maybe I'll think of a new fresh one for next podcast.
Yes, do it. I love it.
All right, guys. Well,
I thought you were going to plug Inman.
I was, but I don't know what the date is. So June, we're going to be on Inman.
June 6th through the 9th.
6th to the 9th, we're going to be Inman Connect.
Yes.
Connect now. Connect now.
6th to the 9th. And there's one other
definitely
thing,
check us
too, that's
out.
even...
And
It's
on the
a virtual.
16th through the 19th.
16th through the 9th.
16th through the 9th.
Because I
Okay.
remember,
Oh, shoot,
we had a
sorry.
conflict on
I was going to
something.
say, that's really quick.
I know,
here.
I was
All
getting a
right,
little
so
nervous.
definitely check us out. We're going to be on a couple different deals. And
So
Yeah,
we're
excited.
all wrong.
Oh.
Inman Connect, June 15th through 17th. It's a virtual, so as an agent, you definitely want to attend something like that because there's going to be thousands of agents all across the country tuned in. There's going to be speakers. You'll be able to obviously see a really cool commercial that Zoodealio is going to put out. So we're super pumped, excited.
Yes.
But yeah, this is something every agent needs to experience.
Yeah, and-
especially that it's virtual.
That comes with the basic subscription, right? That they can attend Connect, or do they have to
No.
pay additional?
There's a fee for it.
okay, yeah.
There's
But
an
you can buy a
additional-
package, and it's like all of the ones.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah, really reasonable.
But with everything changing so rapidly right now, you're gonna want to see all these
Yeah, you
cool
gotta
guest
get-
speakers
Yeah.
and new
If you're a
companies and new
business,
ideas.
Yeah,
if you treat your
gotta get
if you
ahead.
treat your real estate license like a business, you need to be there.
Yep.
And
Boom.
if you're listening and you're not a subscriber, there might be a
Yes.
promo code deal for you
We're
if
gonna have
you, if
we're
you
gonna have
sign
a
up
massive
around that
deal
time
for
frame.
Zoodealio then. So
Love it.
definitely check it out. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
Deuces.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today on the iBuyer Experiment podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you're notified when we launch new podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one.
Show you the money.